Live again to talk about sync because that's all I talk about. Sync trailers, conferences, networking, making music, creating music. That's all I talk about. Getting ready. Just finished up an incredible event this past weekend. Thank you to everyone who attended the Sync Music Success Conference. It was insane. It was incredible. There was some really impactful moments there. Shout out to all the panelists that came through. My Life is Polo. Thank you for tuning in. Sage Scribe. Thank you for tuning in. Take to the Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know. Take to the Talk. Will you be at NAM this week? I'll be heading out to LA tomorrow. Um, Shout out to everyone that attended this conference this past weekend. Sync Music Success was a success. Incredible conference. Torrance Edwards, thank you for tuning in. And it was just impactful. We're actually working on packaging up the recording so that if people who missed it, those who had to step in and out, because it was like 6 hours each day. So of course people had to step in and out. They couldn't stay for the whole time. We'll make sure that those who got a ticket to the event will have access to the replay, and then we'll also package it up so that those who missed it can actually go back and access this content. There were some really, really powerful moments this past weekend. Enjoyed being a part, and I actually personally got some revelations and also some great opportunities to work with some of the panelists just from being part of that event and doing like the hosting that I do. And speaking of hosting, getting ready, literally getting the clothes ready to pack up so that we can fly out tomorrow to head to NAM. Take to the Talk. I have about 7 panels I'm hosting for NAM. 3 of them will be on sync licensing. For the 3 sync licensing panels that I'm hosting at NAM, Thursday, which is in a couple of days, Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I got a 2-hour slot. It'll be 2 back-to-back panels, and then Friday at 2 p.m. I got 1 panel, and then after that, there's actually sync panels every day. So I have the first. I'm going to be opening up the sync panel this week at NAM. So I have the first 2 days of sync panels, and then there will be another panel on Saturday, and I think 1 or 2 more panels on Sunday. So they got panels lined up. They are investing a lot of time into the sync licensing space. If you were at NAM last year, you know how epic the panel was that I put together. 8 African American men on stage talking about sync licensing, and luckily NAM re-upped on it, and they are offering me more stages and more time, bigger stages and more time this year, and blessed and honored to be bringing some new faces to the stage. You'll see some familiar faces from last year. I'll talk about it this week. I'll make some posts about the new panelists and the panelists that you'll be seeing over the next few days. I got to finalize some details with them to make sure they know what they need to do to get their badges and get there. But NAM is going to be insane. It's going to be back to 4 days this year. It's back to January this year. The past couple of years, it's been every 9 or 10 months. I'm glad we're back to a year because I need to save up a little bit more to get to that year mark. But already lining up my schedule for the week once we touch down in LA is going to be incredible. It's going to be insane. TCAM Drums, thank you for tuning in. So if you will be at NAM, definitely check out the NAM panels. The first one will be the business side of sync. That will be 10 a.m. on Thursday. Then the second panel I'm hosting will be at around 10:50 a.m. Thursday. That will be the creative side of sync. And then the third panel that I'm hosting will be at 2 p.m. on Friday. That will be featuring sync libraries, sync agents, music supervisors. And the first 2 panels are streamed. That last panel is not streamed. It is also not in as big of a room as the first 2 panels. So you definitely want to be in the building for the third panel. You want to be in the building for all the panels, but the first 2 will be streamed. So if you want to watch it virtually, if you have a virtual only ticket, you can watch that virtually. Unfortunately, the last panel will not be streamed. So giving you all the details so you are armed with what you need to know. And also for those who went to this event this past weekend, the Sync Music Success, and you're going to NAM, you're already setting yourself up for success in the sync space for 2024. So a great way to start the year by attending some of these big music events. I'm being invited to a lot throughout the year. The next one, I know there's a couple in February. I can't make it all. I do work full time, so I can't be able to make all these events. I got to watch my leave and things like that. But the next one I think I'm going to make after this, or attempt to get to, will be one at the end of March that will be down south. So yeah, lining up the schedule for this year, lining up events that I want to attend and learn from, and then also making those connections in the sync space. Tonight, before you even fly out tomorrow, I just got like a bunch of briefs in, and I'm like, a lot of them are good opportunities. One of them is like a 6-figure thing. I'm like, yeah, I probably need to work on that and not go to sleep tonight. Yeah, it seems to always happen when we're traveling. Like when we went to Florida for my wife's birthday back in December, the day before we were going to fly back home, I got a brief to trailerize a Bon Jovi song, and I was like, yeah, of course. And I did it and didn't sleep that night and stayed up all night working on it. And we had to fly out. So, when duty calls, when you're in this sync and trailer space, you're working, but you're also traveling. Sometimes you got to make things happen. There's some events going down. I actually have there's some new things that NAM is offering this year. There's some levels of access that I don't think they offered before that hopefully I can take advantage of. So it's going to be great. Tonight I also have to finalize some details. I got to email all the NAM panelists. I was supposed to do it over the weekend, but I got sort of backlogged with the Sync Music Success event. So I got to reach out to the panelists tonight with all the updated details of how they can make sure they get their badges and make sure they know where they need to be. So basically, I am becoming part of the brand. Other than public speaking and networking, is like an event organizer. If you were at Sync Music Success, you saw how I organized and hosted that virtual event this past weekend, being the Zoom manager of all the Zoom things, which is what I do for work. But that opened my eyes up to doing more of that sort of remote production for conferences. And there were some opportunities that from that, just from being part of that, where some people that were involved, were like, hey, I got some people that could use your services on the Zoom end. I was like, hey, I know how to do it because that's what I do, all day. Billy Sink, thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. But yeah, get ready to fly out. Have a couple meetings tonight. Have a couple briefs I got to lock in and finish up tonight before we fly out to LA. Yeah, so that's about it, man. I actually haven't been making a lot of music. I've been trying off and on. I actually had a client. I started offering trailerization services. I had a client who's already bought 3 trailerizations. Of course, I knocked those out for him, and just finished the third one for him today. And that was on the site. You can't access it now because I do have a timeline where I like to create the trailerization for the clients, and because I will be traveling, I won't be in that music creative mode. So I did take that service down, but when I return home and when I finish, recoup from traveling, I will bring that service back up. But it was on the sale until from the holidays up until now. I had a half off sale for that service, but that price is going to go back up when I get back home, unfortunately, fortunately, because I got to get back to normal levels. But you can go to the site, thefingers.com. You can check out some sample packs that I have up there. I have some royalty free sample packs. I have the Sting Endings Volume 1. If you're on Instagram, just comment the word Sting, and I will send you the Sting Endings information on how you get how you can get the Sting Endings pack Volume 1 royalty free. Great for sync licensing and production music. I also have the Clap Friday Volume 1 royalty free clap loop pack. Just comment the word clap if you're on Instagram, and I'll send you information about that. If you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, go to thefingers.com and click samples at the top. I also have a luxurious keys. If you comment the word Lux on Instagram, I'll send you information about that. It is piano loops in the style of Maybach music. So definitely have a lot of packs out. I was trying to get one out before going to NAMM, but I don't think that's going to happen. I could upload one. I have a bunch of packs just in the cut, but I don't know if I'm going to upload it before we head out. Because I got to focus on these briefs. So I got some briefs I got some big briefs. One's for like a European ad, I think. One is for a car ad. Just trying to lock some things in. I actually did a trailer. I did an overlay today of a track. So I did the trailerization for an artist. I finished that. I think I started it a couple days ago. It took me a couple days to finally lock in on the vibe for that. And then I got a brief for an overlay for one of the libraries I work with. So I finished that overlay of a song for an opportunity. Sort of not exactly a trailerization, but an overlay is sort of like you keep the song the way it is and you add some elements to enhance it, like strings, brass, maybe some percussion, depending on how much they want. In this case, they didn't want too much. They just wanted to enhance it a little bit. So we'll see what happens, fingers crossed. So really, I'm just focusing on going after these opportunities. One thing, I have some NAMM goals I need to do. I got to remember, I forgot to bring these last year, but I want to take these to the Sennheiser people and be like, yo, give me some new headphones. My headphones are literally falling apart, but I use them like daily. So hopefully I'll remember to pack these up. But basically lining up my schedule for the week. I have some things. We're going to land tomorrow. Hopefully get some rest. And then Wednesday, actually for me, my schedule kicks off on Wednesday with getting the badge and doing some things, pre-NAMM stuff at the Anaheim Convention Center. And the goal actually with the family, we've always been trying, the past couple of years, we go to LA, like we're going to go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles and haven't made it out yet. So hopefully this is the year we make it out to Roscoe's, because right down the street from where we stay in the Anaheim Convention Center. I think the family's going to be doing the parks. They're going to be going to Universal or Disney. No parks for me, at least this year. I'm going to be focused mainly on the NAMM stuff. I've been looking at some of the schedule. There's like an opening party that is like an hour away. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to spend all that money on Ubers again this year. So we'll see. We'll see how things land in the land of LA, but definitely trying to take advantage of the opportunity to be out there and network and build these relationships, continue building these relationships. I was talking with someone, Chrissy, thank you for tuning in. I was talking with engineer earlier this week, and he's like, every year we go to NAMM, it's like we're at the next level up. Like we see ourselves getting to that next level to eventually go into whatever that high level is. It's going to be dope. I have 3 sync panels at NAMM. I'm working on like 7 panels. Some of them are, the other ones are about like AI and immersive audio. I had some people lined up. The schedules are just getting crazy. I got to check my email actually. I was trying to get a big composer. So far, not really happening. And I know we're last minute, so right now it's sort of, first come first serve. I did have Usher's engineer on call. He was going to be on one of those immersive audio panels, but unfortunately, he got to work. He's working on the Super Bowl, so he couldn't make it. So yeah, but definitely always working. Always using my network and trying to figure out how I can get some of these things to happen. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they work out. Sometimes they don't. But that's just life. What's crazy is I said this in the past live. Now I have a list of panelists for other events, for other conferences and things. I have a list of about 30 panelists who couldn't who are unavailable this week for NAM, who I did ask. And they were unavailable, they're traveling, or whatever the case is. So I have a list of about 30. So I now have, yeah, I have a decent Rolodex of panelists who are willing to teach and willing to get on a panel and show some things. So I'll be here for probably about another 10 minutes. Like I said, I got to work on some music. I got a bunch of briefs. There's one I really want to go for because I think I have a chance of landing it, and it's due in 5 hours. But the range is around 100K. So yeah, that's insane. So yeah, I mean, sometimes seeing briefs like that is like, okay, I got to go for. I know a million people are going to go after it, but I'm going to put my hat in the ring, and you never know because all it takes is one. Sometimes a placement like that, 100K, 200K. I've seen some up to 500. I pitched to some that were like It was an opportunity for 2 ads, 500K each, so $1 million last year, and the end of last year. So hoping, I think there's still time. They're probably going through who they want to pick, but ended up working doing like a whole album for that opportunity because it's like, yo, this is insane. And something like that, that is for some people that's life changing money. For me, that's definitely life changing money. So when you're talking about these 6-figure, even 5-figure placements, 5-figure deals, when you're talking about working on music for companies like Disney or Netflix or Hulu or things like that, Hulu is sort of owned by Disney. But you start getting these names on your resume and under your under your wing. In your portfolio, it's like, okay, oh, he's done work for these companies. Well, of course he can knock some things out for me, or because there's a certain level of professionalism when you start working with certain companies. With Disney, when you start working with them, there's a certain level of professionalism when you say, I got music at Disneyland, and you already know that there's a certain level of not only professionalism but also a level of musicality, because Disney, no matter how big or small the project is, they have a level of integrity that they need to maintain for their business and music. So yeah, Olu, I'm not even going to try to say the rest of the name. Olu, thank you for tuning in on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Like I said, I'll probably be here for about 17 more minutes. I have a library that I work with that we're going to be having a meeting at 9 p.m. My time. So I want to jump in on there with that library. They actually have a bunch of opportunities coming up also for trailers in the trailer space. So I've been trying to lock in on some trailers before heading out to NAM. And post some things there. I don't think I'm gonna get any more done for that particular library before we fly out. And I'm hoping to meet with. Actually, I have my notebook that hopefully if I remember to travel with it, I got to start writing my NAM notes in here. So I have a notebook that my wife got me years ago. I started writing in instead of keeping, you see it up there down here. Instead of keeping digital notes, I started writing in here like, hey, these are libraries I want to work with. So I'm going to start writing my NAM ideas. Kelvin Chaos, thank you for tuning in. Yo, Kelvin, you'll be at NAM. Let me know. I'll be heading out tomorrow. I definitely need to see you in the building for the 3 sync panels I'm hosting. Thursday 10 to 12, and then Friday at 2 p.m. So definitely make sure you register. Just go to the app, the NAM Show Plus app, and then click on events or schedule or something, and then you can just search for sync. Basically, just bookmark all the sync stuff. I have 3 of them. I think there's like 7 of them. So I made sure I bookmarked all of them. I think some of the sync panels, especially on the weekend, are overlap with some of the other things I'm working on with like the AI immersive audio panels. So hopefully I can try to if I got to do something for the AI immersive audio, I can do an intro there and then run, because I really want to be at the sync panels, but I'm also assisting with setting up some of these other panels for NAM. So I want to make sure I'm doing what I signed up to do and sticking to my word, because a lot of times your word is your brand, your word is bond. But I mean, I want to catch all these sync panels because you never know who's going to be up on stage. You also never know who's going to be in the room for these events. Even the event that I was working on this past weekend, we had some incredible people in the sync space in the audience, and they were dropping gems. They were dropping resources. They were answering questions. So you just never know when you're going to these events, whether in person or virtual, who's going to be there. We had library owners in the audience, and during the breaks, because me being the great host that I am, I was playing some music during the breaks from some audience members. And yeah, so like I said, I'm going to be building that into a brand remote production for Zoom events and conferences. So business 101, business mind just running at 1,000%. Darian Lance, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be here probably another 10 minutes, 10-ish minutes. Got a call in 15 minutes, so I'll probably hang out for another 10 minutes. If you have any sync questions, business questions. Sophia was at the conference this past weekend. Sophia, thank you for tuning in. We played one of her songs during one of those sort of transition periods. Shout out to Sophia Alpha. Is it Sophie Alpha or Sophia Alpha? Shout out to her for being a part of Sync Music Success. Stay tuned, Sophia. I gotta get those recordings to the team before I fly out tomorrow. So yeah, it's in the works. What's the best way to get music and shows and movies? Sync licensing. Darian, will you be at NAM? If you won't be at NAM, stay tuned for Sync Music Success. Is a conference we just held this past weekend. We're going to be uh, making those recordings available for replay, where you can learn all about how you can get your music into shows, into movies, into video games. But you want to look up the word sync. Just go to Google or YouTube, type in the word sync, and learn as much as you can. Then start joining sync groups, and then finding out, asking questions there, and then finding libraries where you can submit your music to that will help you land your music into those shows and movies. Before any of that, you have to make sure you have a PRO. You can't even get into sync or getting your music into movies or shows if you don't have a PRO. So definitely look all that stuff up, how you can get your PRO, your IPI number. If you're in the US, that would be BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC. If you're in any other country, most countries other than the US have only one PRO, so you don't have to make a decision and figure out what's what. You have BMI, so you're already there. So yeah, after that, find libraries. Let's see, there's some like Pink Shark Music, all one word. Go to their website. They might say, on their site, they might say how you can submit to them. Yeah, but do your research on the libraries. I like to work with libraries that have placements over the last 6 months. If they haven't had a placement in the last 6 months, I probably would stay away from working with them. But that's just me. There's a bunch of libraries. There's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of libraries out there. And you can go to these different communities. I have a Facebook group called Syncrets To Success. In that group, someone has dropped a library list of libraries that you can check out. So you can go, you can start there actually, and start researching libraries. But it does take a lot of research. I would say most libraries would have you submit like 4 to 5 songs, and then go from there. But yeah, that's sort of the quick answer. But patience is the long answer. You want to be patient. So let's say you do find a library, you submit your music. It might take them 1 or 2 weeks to respond whether or not they even want to work with you. If they want to work with you, they might have you submit either the music you already submitted they might accept, or they might have you submit some other music. It could take them up to 6 months to get that music registered in their platform, and then once it places, it could take and who knows how long it could take to place, but then it could take up to a year, sometimes 2 years if it's international, for you to get paid for the placement. So it's a long game. Do they have to sound perfect as far as basic? No. A lot of times they have to sound acceptable, and they have to work for the scene. It doesn't have to be mixed. I wouldn't spend $10,000 to mix the song for like sync. I am thinking of offering mixing services this year. People have been asking me. I do mix when I collaborate with the artists. If they don't have their own mixing team, I do mix the tracks that I work on, but I don't offer that as a service yet. So people have been asking me to offer that as a service. I know some of the big engineers that are charging, 5,000-10,000 per mix, which is insane. I mean, it's great for them because they're getting the platinum, records and stuff. But for sync, no, I wouldn't necessarily pay $5,000 for a mix. And the other thing is, the best thing is to learn how to mix yourself, because if you are submitting your song to sync and you have a mix engineer mix it, if the library or the music supervisor or the director is like, hey, we love this song in this scene, but we don't like the piano. Can you turn the piano down? And you're like, I got to call my engineer, and your engineer's out on vacation somewhere, and he, doesn't have the files, whatever the case is. You just lost a placement because they're going to go to the next song. It's like, okay, well, we need the piano lower in this scene, so let's just find this other song that we thought would work, and let's see if they can lower their piano. So yeah, best answer, learn how to mix yourself. Second best answer, if you do have a mix engineer, get the stems from them. So when I do start offering this service, this is something that I'm going to offer. Hey, I'll mix it for you. I'll offer stems. If you want to get alt mixes, that's fine, but the stems is all you need. Yeah, session, not even a session, because I work in Logic. Not everyone works in Logic. So if I give you my Logic session and you work in Pro Tools, or you have a PC, it's not going to help you much. But you definitely want the audio stems all consolidated from start to finish. And maybe in some cases the multi-tracks, but stems will get you far. There is a difference between stems and multi-tracks. So some engineers don't like when you interchange those. Just a quick educational thing: stems are let's say you have a drum, you have drums, you have the kick, snare, hi-hat, right? When you bundle all those together, that is the drum stem. Usually that's all you need to send in for sync is a drum stem. When you have them separate, you are sending the multi-tracks. You're sending the drum track, the snare track, the hi-hat track. For the most part, with sync, I am doing maybe 10 to 15 stems max. I might go up to 20 stems for trailers, but usually I try to keep it down to 10 to 15, usually 10 to 12 range for stems. So otherwise, it's like you're sending an editor 20 tracks, and they basically have to remix the whole song. It's like that's a little overwhelming. But 10 to 15, if I can get it down to 10, that's great. But yeah, so quick stem and multi-track lesson for you all. So I'm going to start writing down what I need to do for NAMM in my little notebook. I'm trying to clear off some things that I have here. I actually had 2 traillerization requests. I had a bunch of traillerization requests from NAMM last year. I was able to knock a lot of them out, but I still have 2 left. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do them before we fly out, so I'm hoping I can maybe do one. One of them was Last Last by Burna Boy. That was requested by Jesse Ray. The other one was Bops by Coyle Ray. That one is actually, I might be able to do that one a little quicker if I don't do like a full traillerization and just focus on like an overlay or augmentation. We'll see if I do either of those. But a lot of the ones that you heard me or saw me do this year, the Umbrella by Rihanna, the Kendrick Lamar, which one was it? Kendrick Lamar, Cartoons of Cereal, I want to say the Justin Bieber one, which was Attention. A lot of those were requests from NAMM last year to trailerize those songs, and I traillerized them, and yeah, and we were good to go. And then hopefully this year, because I know a lot of those people that requested it, I'm pretty sure that Cool Carell, who is Rihanna's vocal producer, isn't like following me. But he requested the song, I did it. So I'm hoping to bump into them at NAMM this week, and then I can be like, "Yo, I did the song for you. Can I send it to you? Even better, can I play it for you? Let's hop in the studio booth real quick, or whatever the case is. There's always like a studio around or a car or something you can hop into on the showroom floor. So we'll see what happens. I like to go approach NAMM with some expectations, but also leave the door open for what they say: leave the door open for God to enter the room, but leave the door open for God to enter those situations and those experiences. So we will see. Darian says, "I'll be dropping a new music video soon. I'll send it to you when it's finished being edited." That's dope. If you are an artist trying to get into sync, you can help. It can help when you land a sync placement for those people when they start hearing your song, like on a big TV show, to start Shazamming it, and then they can start streaming it, and then find the music video and things like that. But yeah, that's dope. You have like a video editor, you have a video director, video team. That's dope. As an artist, you have those things already in place. Also, if you go to these events like NAMM, see if you can hire someone or bring someone with you that can do the video, the background footage. Actually, I don't have someone that's going to be doing that, but if you are an artist, see if you can hire someone that can be getting that background footage for you. Actually, what's crazy is I gotta clear some stuff off of my phone. My phone is like out of space. Yeah, I got a lot to do before tomorrow. So yeah, to see if there's a way for you to have someone come along with you that can record, be your sort of videographer, the document. When Kanye was starting out, he had his friend, that was recording everything he was doing, and they released a Genius documentary. I don't think Kanye was part of it, but you know, so you never know. This is your journey, so have that documented. Have people recording. I'm going live pretty much 2-3 times a week, documenting the journey. Sometimes you see me out doing the things, and then sometimes I'm just talking about it, reflecting on it. But that's my way of remembering. Hey, I did do this last week or last year, whatever the case is. M.W. Montanari, thank you for tuning in. Darian, when's the next conference? Other than NAMM is this week. I think there are some in February. I'm not going to all of them, of course. There's a group on Facebook where someone posted a sync conference list. I can't think. I know there's some in February. I just can't think of what exactly. So the next one that I think I'm going to be going to that'll be in person will probably be down in Atlanta, and that is called. I think it's called Sync Spotlight. That is the one I plan to go to. There's one called Sync Summit in February that will be in. Let's see, is that in LA? That's in LA. So again, what would have been great, but I can't swing it. Pause. Is going to NAMM this week and then just staying there for 2 weeks and then going to Sync Summit. Of course, you'll have NAMM this week, you'll have Grammys next week, and then you'll have Sync Summit February 5th through 7th, or Grammys, and then you have Super Bowls. You can just drive to Vegas and hang out at Super Bowl. So yeah, I have a lot of people that really want me to just move to the West Coast. So maybe one day. That'll happen, Lord willing. Okay, a few more minutes. I'm gonna get off because I got to jump on this other call. Any other questions? But Darian, Sync Summit February 5th to 7th. There is someone in one of these groups that I'm on that they dropped a sync directory. I used to have one, but I had to take it down for some reasons. But let me check my directory to see. I don't think I have the dates for this year on there, so I got to find someone that dropped a sync directory. of like sync conferences, and I don't know if I can find it. But if I can, maybe if I can, I'll post it or something. But someone did drop a sync directory in one of these communities, and now I won't find it. But there are some great ones to be a part of. I know Taxi. I'm not a Taxi member. Taxi used to have one. I don't know if they still do one. That was like towards the end of the year. But there, I think if I remember correctly on the directory that I saw, there was a sync event, either virtual or in person, every month, maybe except for the summertime, but pretty much every month. So there's always something going on. There's communities you can be a part of that do like monthly or weekly meetings where they have music supervisors join. Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there in the sync space. I think a lot of them sort of blew up when the pandemic started. Of course, I got into sync more when the pandemic started. I got into trailer music, last year. So it's been helping my journey musically to figure out other ways to sort of monetize the musical talent and the musical dream and the musical passion. So I would say do some research. Maybe go to Google and just type in sync conference or music conference and see what shows up. Actually, I'm going to one. I'm supposed to be going to one in Nashville called Music Biz in May. So yeah, I just got to get my schedule together. Right now, I'm going to be focusing on NAMM this week. Obviously, flying out tomorrow, trying to get some things done tonight. Okay, I got to get off and jump to this call. But if you have any questions, feel free. I would like to work with you and make some music for commercials and shows. Darian, I'll have that actually on the site. Right now, I have to finish up some trailerizations because I have some clients that are requesting trailerization services. But when I return from LA, I will have some services up. So people, if they want to focus on collaborating for sync and things, trailerization is the main focus for me, just because it's um, such a beast, and I enjoy doing it. It's a great challenge, I'd say. MW Montanari says, I started my sync journey last summer. It's been a fresh change from the classical world. Yeah, it's been an interesting change. I had a great chat with LaMarcus Miller, incredible music supervisor, over the last couple of days. He was part of the Sync Music Success Conference this past weekend. And he also knows a lot about the classical world and the opera world. And going into Sync from that world is definitely interesting change, interesting journey. There's some similarities, but there's a lot of differences. So yeah, there also can be a need for some of that classical style. One of my biggest albums that I've released is a neoclassical trailer project. And that led to making similar albums for some trailer libraries. It also led to me working with Disneyland and composing some music for a theme park attraction there. But if you go to, all right, I got to go to the beat. If you go to like streaming platforms, check out Marcus Manderson, which is my government name. Marcus Manderson Presents Neoclassical Trailer Music. That's the album that has probably been my most successful one that I've released, as far as music that I've released, just because of the opportunities that it's opened up to work on similar projects for other libraries and to work with Disneyland. All right, I got to go. But stay tuned. I'll probably go live tomorrow before we head out, and then I'll be going live from LA. Be safe and be well, everyone. All right, peace.